I've been informed of a type of fan which is pretty prominent in the VTuber community. Well, not prominent, more it's a common archetype of fan that I've heard is quite problematic. So we're going to be going through a article on vtubernews.org talking about this kind of fan. Interview. I just don't want them to collab with men. In the mind of a VTuber unicorn. Interesting term, unicorn. I do wonder why that became the term associated with them. Unicorn mentality coming to the West. From back on September 7th, 2022, I sat down with the so-called unicorn to talk about his view on female VTubers and their collaborations with men. There has been a lot of buzz about mixed-gendered collaborations in the VTuber fandom and the faction of unicorns. You might have heard this word before in the context of VTubing, but what does it mean? Bitch, you're throwing me off. The original meaning of unicorn comes from Japanese idol culture. If you want to know about idol culture and what role it plays in VTubing, click here. That would be interesting to look in the future. But from my understanding, the unicorn in Japanese culture are puritanical fans who think they know best and think they know best for the streamer that they are in love with, essentially, that they follow, and they get upset when they're following a female VTuber and then they see that female VTuber collaborate with men, and it's kind of like a them problem. Like, the unicorns are making their problem everybody else's by protesting that, I don't know, Amelie collabs with Porcelain Maid or whatever. It describes a person who holds the idol and idol culture sacred to an extreme degree. It's a faction or a person that wants to protect the purity of an idol to religious degrees. The mythological meaning behind unicorn is purity and innocence, often connected with female virgins. Unicorns do not want their favorite streamer to collaborate with the opposite sex. They are one of the most passionate and loud supporters of a VTuber, but this can also turn them into haters if their demand is not met. The aspect of parasocialism plays a huge role. I have covered parasocial relationships with VTubers previously. If you would like to know more about that, definitely check out that video. They also have another link about parasocial relationships for further reading. After the VTuber boom in the West through HoloLive, Nijisanji, and indies on Twitch.tv, this standard got applied to non-Japanese and non-idol streamers. Especially HoloLive English has garnered a lot of unicorns because of its implicit idol branding. I read that Japanese idols prohibited to have any relationship with men because it upsets with fans. Yeah, I've heard that as well. I've also heard that male idols will go out of their way to, not show any sort of friendliness to female VTuber or female idols as a way of avoiding shipping from fans between them and the other. And that's kind of fucked up that those fans are getting so loud about their issue with, hey, this person I watch is talking to another person. That's definitely a them problem. If you want to learn more about unicorns and gachikoi, you should click here. I don't know what gachikoi are. I offered people who identified themselves as unicorns a platform to explain their worldview, and one of them was willing to answer some question. His name is Michael, 24 years old, from Minnesota, USA. he works in retail after dropping out of college. He did not want to disclose more personal information. Totally fair. I was uncomfortable reading that out, as he feared he would be harassed online or offline for his views. Again, nobody should harass anybody because of disagreements. Don't go into DMs and say you're a bad person because you think this thing. That's rude. What you want to do to push back against those kinds of views is when you push back at them, when you see them in public, like you see a Twitter post that you disagree with. Comment. Say why you disagree. Explain why you disagree. Don't just call them bad people because they do this bad thing. That falls into essentialist thinking, and that's very problematic for everybody. Once you become popular, you stop being a human being. People see you as a symbol, an idea. Ideas don't have personal life. Yeah, that's actually true. And the parasocial relationships are far more common and played into within VTuber communities. So it is a lot easier for VTuber fans to fall into that disassociation that, they kind of forget that VTubers are people. There is a person behind the avatar you're listening to. Like, there's a person that actually has the voice that you're listening to. A lot of people just kind of forget to think about that sometimes. This interview is a transcript from a recorded Discord call. The final draft has been approved for release by Michael. Okay, cool. And I definitely want to understand this mindset more of unicorns so that we can find ways to make it better for everybody. Thanks for agreeing to do this interview, Michael. How did you get into VTubing in the first place? I've been into anime and manga since high school. I had almost no friends and spent most of my time watching anime. I didn't exactly know when, but a few years ago I got recommended VTuber clips on YouTube. Probably because I often looked for anime stuff. This is when I started watching less anime and more VTubers. What was it that drew you more to VTubers and less anime? For me, it was like anime in real life. You could interact with your waifu. Editor's note, waifu means favorite female character you see as your wife in a romantic or sexual way, instead of just watching what was happening to her in an anime series. They feel more real. I always loved the cute girls doing cute things genre of anime, and VTubing was just that, but real. How passionate would you describe yourself about VTubers? Meaning, do you buy merch? How much do you watch? How engaged are you in the community? I watch every time I can. I buy all the merch of my Oshi. Editor's note, Oshi is slang for favorite, which costs me a lot of money outside of mandatory payments like rent, and I hang out in internet forums to read about everything that's happening in the scene. Would you call yourself a fanatic? Yes, I love my Oshi and her friends. I wouldn't call it fanaticism, though. Which leads me to the main point of this interview. You called yourself a proud unicorn when you contacted me. What does that mean to you? How would you qualify yourself as a unicorn? I don't like how being a unicorn is labeled as something negative. I watch all the streams and VODs of my Oshis and girls in the same company. I spend hundreds of dollars on memberships, super chats, and merchandise every month. I even skip work sometimes to watch special events or unarchived streams of them. I just don't want them to collab with men. Why? I and other fans like me give a lot of support, money, commissioning art, and spreading the word. I think a lot of fans come from anime and yes, see them as their waifu or something. I know it's just an illusion that will not come true, but I see my Oshi and her friends like a girlfriend. But the relationship goes two ways. It's not only from us to them, but we also expect something in return. Not much, just compassion and no collabs with men that would hurt the fans. Do you see yourself in a romantic relationship with your favorite VTuber? Well, kind of. As I said, deep down, we unicorns know we will probably never be in physical contact with our Oshi. She probably doesn't even know more than our usernames. It's like watching a movie. You know those actors and special effects and aliens are not really invading Earth, but in the moment, when you get immersed, it feels real. It's something like that. You use us and we. How many unicorns do you think are there? Do you think do you think you are the majority or minority? I think we are the minority that matters. The ones who support you long time and will always spend money on you. As I said, just don't collab with men. Are there expectations to this rule about collaborations with men? Maybe. Sponsored streams are fine for me, but fine for me if it's with an outsider because they pay for an advertisement and are not really interested in the VTuber itself. They just want to make money. But that's about it. I also really don't care what she does in her free time as long as she never brings it up on stream. Yeah, like, this is a little controlling from them. But I read that one. So you would be fine if she had a boyfriend or girlfriend off stream. I do care. I wish she didn't, but that's not really what she is selling by being a VTuber. At least most of them are not selling that. I think love without expectation of anything in return is pure true love. Ironically, love for fictional character is something like that. Honestly, yeah. A little controlling. I don't like making declarative statements. Dante Alighieri have love for fictional woman Beatrice? I don't know who that is. But yeah, there is something to be said that it is a two-way street between viewers and the streamer or the VTuber. But like that doesn't come at the cost of the viewers get to demand what the VTuber can do. The fans or viewers do support the streamer, and that helps a ton. And the streamer does need to pay attention to what their community actually will engage with from them. So they are kind of limited in that. But I don't think that viewers have the right to demand that their favorite streamer can't collaborate with anybody in specific. Like, I would actually be pissed off at my audience if I was talking to, like, Rev Says Desu. Because I would love to talk to him. I want to try and reach an understanding with him. But, like, we do have our big disagreements, sure. But I don't think my fans should have any say whether or not I talk to them. It doesn't matter that much. It is definitely a personal problem. I think it definitely stems from a lot of the loneliness people feel these days, especially since post-2020, people have been way more isolated, way more disconnected from each other. And that's kind of what brought the prominence of VTubing to the mainstream. It's been a way for other people to connect with each other. There have also been a large rise of non-VTuber streamers that, honestly, same thing. They grew to prominence because everybody was at home. They were looking for something to do and they found streamers. Some of them were VTubers. What do you mean by selling that? They are offering a service. entertainment. And some of them sell a girlfriend experience, even if they don't try to. They care about their viewers, share their life with us, talk about what they did that day, what made them sad, or what made them happy, just like a girlfriend. Also, look at most merch VTubers are selling. It is pandering to people like us who see them as their girlfriends. For example, there are dakimakuras, editor's note, dakimakuras are long pillows with the body of an anime character, often in suggestive or lewd poses, marriage rings, intimate voice packs, and so on. No normal person would buy that. Normal's a stretch. I mean, what normal person watches VTubers? Hey, what normal person is a VTuber? Hey, what normal person is a streamer? Hey, normal is bullshit. But there is something to be said about selling a girlfriend experience, even if they don't try to. I'm actually really curious what they are thinking with that. 'Cause, like, maybe it's just my arrow ass not understanding this shit. But, like, a lot of streamers talk about their life, what they did that day, what made them sad or happy. That's just kind of like how a lot of streamers engage with their community. I don't know how that really plays into a girlfriend experience specifically. I think it's more of a friend thing. Because, like, the way I see it is a girlfriend or boyfriend would be somebody you want to spend more intimate time with, more one-on-one time with. Even if your relationship is more open than one-on-one, there are still people that you want to focus your attention on. And as streamers, it's extremely hard to parse out who we really can spend the time with, who would fall into that parasocial trap of this person is my girlfriend, or I don't know, other streamers of just trying to make friends with them, and then we also kind of fall into that, but it's weird. I am thinking that's just a projection of what they want. Yeah, I mean, that is what it is. They're projecting what they want onto the streamer, and that's not okay in my book. If your Oshi announced a collaboration with, let's say, another male VTuber, what would you do? I would do everything I could to stop it beforehand. Write her on Twitter, try to get other fans who don't like it to help me with it. I know most people probably don't even care about collaborating with men, but we are her biggest supporters and should at least be heard. Okay, so there is something to be said about making your concerns known to your favorite streamer. That is a good thing. If you think there is something problematic with somebody you enjoy consuming the content of, you are more than welcome, at least for me, to point out what you think is problematic. Go right ahead. That is not harassment. Honest criticism is a good thing. That said, this is 100% about their insecurity of seeing their perceived girlfriend interacting with another person, like another male, because I'm talking about this like the perspective of unicorns are all men, but they're not. That's just not how life works. There's always a spectrum of people in each group. But this is an article interviewing a male unicorn, so I will be referring to unicorns as males in this, just to make it a little easier to convey my thoughts. If anybody does want clarification, please feel free to reach out and I will clarify. But yeah, this is definitely projection and not good. Trying to do everything you can to stop a collab. Like, if you're so confused what's going on here, We are trying to dive into the mind of a unicorn, a certain kind of VTuber fan that is honestly a double-edged sword. The biggest supporters, but they can also be the biggest criticizers of streamers. Maybe there are lesbian unicorns? Oh, 100% there are. Like, this is the first time I caught a stream, thanks time zones. Oh, yeah, time zones suck. I know you have popped in like once or twice before, but not too often. I know you are, let's say, on the opposite side of the world. Kinda literally. Time zones are fake. True. And if she proceeds or does collab without telling in advance, it would hurt. Like getting cheated on. Like a betrayal of the unspoken contract of VTuber and viewer. Even if it would only be one time, the magic would be gone. It would never feel the same. I would stop watching her and get really angry. I know some unicorns turn into antis. Editor's note, antis are people who target or harass an entertainer or VTuber, in this case as much as they can, because they don't like them, their content, or feel wronged by that person. Other people in the fandom often label you as parasocial freaks, incels, or something derogatory. What do you think of their opinion? I watched anime and now VTubers as escapism because I don't want to deal with these people on other platforms. Most of us just want to be left alone, and the only thing we demand from the VTuber is to not collab with males to not destroy our illusions. Everyone does different things to escape reality. Some watch movies, some do bad things like drugs. I feel like there is not much innocence left in the world, and VTubing and anime are one of the last bastions. Even in VTubing, there are streamers who pander to people who don't care about this issue. Just watch them. Staying pure is one of the last unique things in VTubing. Why destroy it and turn it into the same thing as everything else? That's all I wanted to say. Okay, so there is something to be said about life being cringe and wanting to take a break from dealing with that. You don't have to engage with it if you want. If you don't want to deal with, I don't know, anything related to political, anything related to any kind of political content, don't engage with me. I talk a lot about it. I talk directly about it. If you want a streamer that stays pure by not collaborating with men, that is very, very insecure. I wouldn't go so far as to call them freaks or incels just for believing this, but I mean, it is trending in incel direction, which is what I'm concerned about. Not that Briley is God. Goddamn right. Just imagine humanity started producing artificial anime like women. People like this would just stop to communicate with anyone just to live in delusions. Yeah, there's people like that. They just want their Oshis. That's what they want. They don't care about anything else. They just want to escape from things, and I don't know how we can reach those people. I want to. I want to help them establish those social connections so that they don't feel as, holy fuck, Pink, that was close. They don't feel as disconnected from social interaction. Parasocial moment. True. Thank you much for answering some questions, giving your insight into your worldview. Disclaimer, the opinions voiced are those of the individual interviewed and may not reflect the editor or vtuber.news or vtubernews.org. That is true. The interviewed person does not reflect the positions of the interviewer, the editor, or the organization that interviewed them. This was an interesting article to go into. Staying pure is one of the last unique things in VTubing. Staying pure? He doesn't have the right to stop. But I think it's their choice to live like that. We don't have the right to stop them. Yeah, we definitely don't have the right to say, you can't live your life like this. People live their life how they want. We can't control that. We can only offer them options, as many options as possible, for how they can enjoy their life. If this is the path they want to go down, we can't stop them from making that choice. What we can do is point out why we think it's problematic while using compassionate language. Personally, I think it's important to convey that you do care about the other person that you're talking to. Whether or not you really know them directly, I think it's kind of important to convey that you do care, at least somehow, the outcomes of what they have to say. Because, like, my big thing is not interest in going after people because I disagree with them or I have personal beef. I'm not going to go into making content over personal beef. What I will go into content for, or what I will use personal beef for, and I will talk about it vaguely, I'm not going to point out any specific friends that I have beef with, but I'll use that beef, or whatever, the drama, as a jumping off point, a springboard, to talk about broader problems. Like when I talked about my thoughts on the word futanari. I put out a video titled, "Is Futa a Slur?" And I think that's a pretty solid video. I think there is definitely room for discussion there. And there's definitely more room for discussion with unicorns. I don't think we should write them off simply for calling themselves unicorns. I don't think you should write anybody off for picking a label, unless they pick to label themselves Nazis. To be honest, I watched a lot of lives that gone like a train wreck. You could just watch how it's crushing. Yeah. You don't have to look very far to see how crushing this world can be, and it's understandable that people want escape from that. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. What is wrong is when they take their insecurities and start pushing those on other people. Like, it's okay to engage with a bit of parasocial relationship or parasocialism with a VTuber, with your favorite VTuber. That's fine. I actually think that's good. That establishes the connection, keeping your viewer coming back. The problem is when it starts feeling what was the phrasing? I forget. The problem really comes in when there's the viewers that start thinking that they do get a direct say in what their favorite VTuber does. They do get to say what they feel about the content their favorite VTuber is creating, but they don't get to demand the content out of that VTuber. There are still some VTubers who can capitalize on such insecurities. Honestly, there are. Yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a fair amount of them that kind of feed into that narrative and build audiences off of that. I have problems with them. But I will close off this video by saying I don't have an inherent problem with unicorns. I think they're definitely worth thinking about more. Going a little more in-depth into that mentality. But don't give anybody shit just because they call themselves a unicorn. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Just don't go demanding things of your favorite streamer. You can have disagreements, it's fine.